So good morning, welcome. I'm Reverend Dr. Carol Lawson. I'm in Morristown, New Jersey with the Center for Conscious Living, and we're just welcoming you to our Sunday celebration. It is March 29th in 2020, and this is the third time we've been together in this way, and I'm delighted to welcome you. I'm going to ask Jackie Greggs, who's our beautiful musician this morning, to oh, I know. That's why she looked surprised, because I said I'd do this first, something that someone asked for that we often do. So if you would silently in your own homes repeat after me. I open my heart to the universe, accepting love and healing.
I open my heart.
I open my heart to the universe, accepting love and joy. I open my heart to the universe, accepting love and peace. And so it is, and with that, we'll start with our music. Thank you, Jackie.
Okay, I unmuted myself, so. Good morning, everyone. I know we have some technological challenges and music playing back from different sources, but I am going to do I'm going to let it do what it do, as they say. So the song we're going to do right now is called One Breath at a Time. And you may hear the music, you may not. I'm just going to go with it. One breath at a time. One breath at a time. That's where grace comes in. One breath at a time. One breath at a time. One breath at a time. That's where grace comes in. One breath at a time. One breath at a time. One breath at a time. That's where grace comes in. One breath at a time. One step at a time. One step at a time. That's where peace comes in. One step at a time. One step at a time. One step at a time. That's where peace comes in. One step at a time. One breath at a time. One breath at a time. That's where our grace comes in. One breath at a time. Just breathe. One breath at a time. One breath at a time. That's where grace comes in. One breath, one breath, one breath, one breath, one step, one breath, just breathe. Just breathe. Just breathe. Just breathe.
Perfect, Jackie, thank you. And we'll ask our first practitioner now, who's Kathy Miller, to do our opening invocation.
Thank you, Reverend Carol. Good morning, everyone. Let's just do as we've just been doing, breathing. Please join me. Breathe into your heart. Just take a long inhale and exhale all the anxiety, all the worry, right in this very moment. Feeling the presence of God. This is the moment that we have, the moment that is filled with the love and peace that is God, this magnificent spirit, this divine source that fills our very body with deep love, with absolute truth. God's divine source just flows within us. We are this amazing, amazing God. I am so amazed by you, God. This waterfall of grace that we live in, this absolute, magnificent, stupendous flow of divine source. That is all that there is. The unity, the oneness, that is God. That is who we are. That is what flows through us at every moment. And the only moment that we have is right now. Feel this love. Feel this magnificent community. I give thanks and praise to our founding minister, Dr. Reverend Carol Lawson, to all the practitioners who are here today surrounding us, filling us with prayer, for our magnificent musician, Jackie Greggs, who just is absolutely flows with the voice of God. The angels are there with her, just bringing us to this place of peace, of surrender, of serenity. I give thanks and praise to the one, and so it is.
So it is. Thank you, Kathy. I'm going to ask you to do the reading as well now, if you would, and then we'll go into the affirmation. And Marlene will put that up for us as well on the chat.
Super. So today's reading is from 365 Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes, and you can find this reading on page 241. Divine power is mine to use. Everything in nature is an individualization of one coordinating life, one law of being, and one presence. The mind has become so filled with that which contradicts this idea that even the truth has to await our recognition. You must learn to become consciously aware of the divine presence and the divine power, the wholeness of truth, of love, of reason, and of a sound mind. Instead of dwelling on negative thoughts, cause your mind to dwell on peace and joy. Know that the power of the invisible spirit is working in and through you now, at this very moment. Lay hold of this realization with complete certainty. Say, I know that I am a perfect being now, living under perfect conditions today. Knowing that good alone is real, I accept that there is one power that acts and reacts in my experience, in my body, and in my thought. I know that good alone has power either to act or react. I know that this recognition establishes the law of harmony in my experience, the law of prosperity, a sense of happiness, peace, health, and joy. Today, I hold a communion with this invisible presence that peoples the world with the manifestations of its life, its light, and its love. I withdraw the veil that hides my real self and draw close to the Spirit in everything and in everyone. I accept everything that belongs to this Spirit. I claim everything that partakes of its nature. And if you would join me, please, in saying the affirmation, which can be found in the chat box. I now let Divine Spirit fill me with its perfect life. I have complete faith in God, therefore I relax into the realization that I am bathed in pure spirit, in living life and in everlasting goodness. I accept the circulation of divine life, love, and energy flowing through my whole being. And so it is.
So it is. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, everyone. And here we go. Jackie has another song for us.
Thank you. That was good. All right. This next song is called Today I Choose. So, what will you choose today? What do I want my day to be today? I choose. What do I want to feel today? I choose. What do I want to be today? I choose. I choose. Oh yeah, I choose. I hope you guys can hear it a little bit. I choose. Well, today I choose to be grateful, so grateful today. I choose to be grateful, grateful today. I choose to be grateful, so grateful today. I choose to be grateful, grateful today. I choose to be happy, so happy today. I choose to be happy, happy. And today I choose to be peaceful, so peaceful today. I choose to be peaceful, peaceful. Whatever I choose is how my day's gonna be. I claim what I want, cause it's all up to me. Today, I choose to be loving, so loving today. I choose to be loving, loving, and joyful today. I choose to be joyful, so joyful today. I choose to be joyful, joyful. choose today. I choose. Oh yes, today I choose to be joyful. Today I choose. Yeah. Listen, whatever I choose is how my day's gonna be. I claim what I want cause it's all up to me. It's all up to me. But today I choose to be thankful, so thankful. Today I choose to be thankful, thankful. And today I choose to be grateful, so grateful. Today I choose to be grateful, grateful. To be grateful. Every day be grateful, grateful. I'm gonna be grateful, grateful.
Beautiful, beautiful, Jackie. Thank you. Thank you very much. It is maybe no surprise to you. I did not know the title of that song. And the title and the focus of our little talk today is, who do we choose to be? So how beautiful it is. Clearly there is something for good in the universe that is using us as well. I heard Marianne Williamson do a talk sometime in the last year or week, or, you know, time is a little bit skewed these days, that mentioned the something that we've had on our bulletin for years about change your thinking and you change your life. It's what we're choosing. We're not necessarily in control of the circumstances. I doubt that any of us thought of this, certainly wouldn't want it, and couldn't have imagined all of the things that are going on in a pandemic. But while we're not in control of all those circumstances, we are in charge of who we choose to be in the experience. What are we doing? What are we focusing on? What are we letting through? The doctors and nurses and the people in the front line that are placing themselves at risk every day to help other people. Someone who called and brought me groceries this week. So many people going to grocery stores, restocking food. So many people. Who are you choosing to be? Marianne said, it's from, I'm sure, the Course in Miracles, but every spiritual teaching as well. Where there's love, there cannot be fear. Fear isn't a thing, it's the absence of a thing. Now, it certainly feels real if we're feeling it and allowing it, but we can take a look, feel that feeling, and let it go and be replaced by a truth that we know. Allow yourself to go deeper to these places within, where from that place we realize that we are not separate. It's not just about us. We're there for other people. We can feel gratitude in our hearts for whatever thing we might have or be able to do, or song we can play, or whatever it is. The two deer that I saw this morning out my window, just amazing, beautiful things. We have in the past taken so much for granted. So much. We kind of move fast, and I certainly am one that does this. Maybe it's to avoid that, those moments of stillness, the moments of deep reflection. But every problem carries its own solution. Now we're at home. There's time to reflect, time in our lives to concentrate on the things that that remain, that we do want to focus on. Maybe loving relationships or people you want to connect with, or cleaning out the drawer. A number of people that are doing the year to clear and clutter, people you could write to or call, time you could spend filling this inner room or connecting with this inner light and let it fill us. What is the space that you're going to inhabit here? What is the choice that you're going to make? We're going through something together. We can make it be an opportunity to be that Beth self, perhaps better as humanity. I think that's the larger call. I talked to somebody yesterday who said they were lonely. They're, in their home and alone. And we talked about maybe calling somebody else, maybe teach somebody how to use Zoom so they could join us and feel connected as well in all of the ways that we connect. There's so much. Jackie Greggs, who has this a job that she's able to work from home, who did a concert last night on Facebook for other musicians who might not have the luxury of that job, and all of the gigs are close to them. Did a concert for other people. It's a beautiful thing. It's a time for us to reach in and be that higher self as much as we can. I brought some words from Paul Zelig, who is a conscious channel, a very interesting person who is scheduled to be the keynote speaker of our Anton conference, which currently is scheduled to take place the end of September and October in Unity Village. Stay tuned. But because he is, I've been looking into his work and very impressed. And his very recent channeling this last week talks about being a time, and this, for humanity to reclaim its identity at a higher octave. He talks a lot about the upper room, that anything may be known in a different way. We can look at this as an opportunity for growth and for healing, an opportunity for seeing the world in concert with truth. If you choose fear first and foremost, he said, or the guides, as he channeled said, you will abnegate all that you've been given as a sovereign being. We can choose, as Jackie let us know from her song. Everything is an opportunity to know, to remember all the things that we've known, that we've been taught, all the tools that we've been learning and gathering these few years, or many years in some of our cases, to use everything in the toolbox, to go into this deeper, higher knowing. You can go into an agreement with fear, or you can move beyond it, lift up. Love it if you prefer, is something that he said. And I'm reminded of Mary Reed as well, talking to us about, and you've heard that. We talk about that all the time, that love is everywhere. God is everywhere. If you're sending out love as a vibration from your heart, you can't very well say, wait, no, not right over there with that guy. Just send it out. So it's a time for us to notice when our heart is constricted, and surely some things hit when we constrict. And then we go out again. This from Zelig: the resolution you seek, that humanity seeks, doesn't come from the world, but a renegotiation of who you are. You've been in separation. You denied your brother food and determined to keep your own place. But suddenly every human being is seen as equal. It's the whole fundamental truth of us, I think. If love is everywhere as God is everywhere, then we're all equal. We're all in this predicament. We don't know what's next. I don't seem to really know what's happening. Although my daughter has tuned into many channels of information and keeps me informed. But it's all this encounter with a great unknown. And we're learning not just how to do church and all of these things as we're navigating, our Zoom calls, how to be together with social distancing. It's the paradox. We've been living as the many, but really the one. It's the same thing coming up again. How do we do social distancing and yet be together? In fact, I'll put the picture out on Facebook. I had a face-to-face talk with my neighbor a couple of days ago as I was walking down the street. We were very carefully on either sides of the street, but it was so wonderful to talk with her. It's wonderful to see all of you here this morning. We can connect. And we're just restructuring everything, things that we had no idea how to do are crumbling. Religion, commerce, all of this stuff is changing. Zelig says, the guides say, I will have what I need at the cost of someone else is being replaced by a comprehension of universal being. We are understanding, what does one woman need to feed her children? What does a culture need to sustain itself in this time of challenge? Truly an opportunity for tremendous growth if you want to make that choice and see that. The divine is seeking, I love this, the divine is seeking an opportunity to claim us as divine. To be that larger self, to let the love flow through, to have an open heart. God is the energetic structure of all things, is the way they said it. I say, God is love, love is everywhere. Whatever words you're using. But this energetic structure is where we live and move and have our being. We have warned of separation. There was something in Kathy's reading I noticed this morning about taking off the mask. We need to re-know the structure. Understanding what we truly are, claim the truth, let the mask be released. See everybody as who they are. We are beings of light. We say this, we've been talking about it. This may be an opportunity to realize, to remember, to act as if. More than a body, we are this consciousness, we are this love, we are this light. Zelig, in his work, the Coming Through, does several attunements. I asked one night at one of his workshops online whether it was okay for me to share the attunements with our congregation. And he said yes. So this is one. You can say it out loud in your heart, in your home. I know who I am in truth. I know what I am in truth. I know how I serve in truth. I am free, I'm free, I'm free. These are not things we, our small self, our ego self, that mind, but it is known in the larger being. There's been talk about having the churches open for Easter. We're open. We're open right here and right now. Whether at the Center for Conscious Living, we're each that Center for Conscious Living. And we can open our heart to this flow of love. You need to be open-hearted. The play, Zelig talks about a play of this, and many spiritual traditions talk about the Maya of the world or the play. He said the play is about culture, it's about peace, it's not just the virus. It's knowing each of ourselves as our true worth and knowing our neighbor as well. Being aware of how we face ourselves in times of great change. How will we learn? How will we take this opportunity to know myself in a higher way and to take the one beside me? We're not denying or putting a blinder on that there's a lot of suffering going on. But to have peace in the face of great change, we are required to move to this center of our being that we've talked about for so long, where we are the space where that love flows through. How do we care for our brother, and how do we care for ourselves will teach us a lot. I've noticed this last week being in quite an overwhelm. Too much time in front of the computer trying to find uplifting things for other people and forgetting to go outside and take a breath of fresh air for myself. So finally I get an opportunity to learn self-care. Who do we choose to be? It's the question for all of us. Thank you so much for the song, Jackie. How do we choose to encounter anything? How do we support one another, our families, humanity itself moving to a higher ground? You know, we're going to make it through this. It's going to be different. You know, people are leaving. But the true challenge facing humanity is this remembering the truth, is this denial of the divine that is in all things. We need to re-see it, remember, notice this one note played in the universe: love, God, everywhere. It's if you think change is bad, you will align with fear. There's a lot of change going on. But if you can see it as productive, as an opportunity to be that truth, we can grow. We can grow. Or we can be, remember Goldilocks. Kathy Milano sent out a reading about the Goldilocks principle, which she is remembering. I really loved it. I mentioned it to you. You remember the story of Goldilocks and going in and, you know, trying the soup or whatever. It's too hot, too cold, just right. The bed, too big, too small, just right. How do we find a response that is just right? If we get lost in the telling the stories or too much news or all of this, might be too much, might be not enough. How do we have it be just right? So she calls it the Goldilocks principle. And she's, why is it now a good time? Because you're living in a world with people who are either running around with their hair on fire or going full ostrich. Not a word that I knew a while ago, but sticking your head in the sand. Or a world where people are caring well for themselves and others. Too much, too little, just right. Too big, too small, just right. The quality of life and the impact that we're having on the world, near and far, depends, Kathy writes, on which storyline you're living. Again, what are you choosing? What are you choosing? She says, I'm aiming for just right, although I find myself acting out a hair on fire or ostrich scenario from time to time. I think it's natural, but it's just not helpful. I found the same thing. We have a couple of televisions here that are mostly on the news, so I either walk through the room quickly or try and change the channel, then I'm watching something else too much. That we can do things if we're alone. You can play music. You can go to virtual places to visit, museums, call somebody. Again, we're not in control of the circumstances, but we are in charge of who we choose to be in this experience. Kathy writes this. She's a psychologist. I share it because I think it's important with you too. If you're a hair on fire type, and, you know, let it be how it is, then soothe your system frequently. Okay? If you're a hair on fire type, if you're worried and afraid. Soothe your system frequently. No one ever made good choices from that space, especially since too much stress takes your frontal lobe offline. And that's where all our file cabinets are, stock full of how to make decisions, creatively solve problems. Remember, every time you rose to the occasion or crawled over the finish line, she says. The point is we need these higher cognitive functions to manage these times well. So soothe yourself if you're a hair on fire type. And if you're too avoidant, if you're the ostrich, if you feel you can't cope well, choose your ostrich moments wisely. Don't forget to lift your head, she says, from time to time, to eat a good meal. That my wine and pasta week, or my ice cream and pasta meal seems to not be completely nutritious. You can eat a good meal, call a friend, go outside. Think of how we are going to choose to do it just right. Being part of this one human family in this really surreal story that we're living. The discovery, she says, this is Kathy, worth seeing with your whole heart and soul. How you will rise to care for yourself with so much kindness and support that you become the wind beneath your own wings. Then you can fly around helping others discover their own creativity and competence and potential. More helpful contributions. The world may need more Goldilocks. So I brought us one last message. It's from Mary Reed and the Unwitting Mystic. This is the evolution of the message of love. This beautiful woman was here with us, has been here 2 or 3 times. I put out in our most recent newsletter, just yesterday, I guess, that she has a meditation program that she's offering free to everybody. Please look it up. That link may not have been correct. I'll put something out on the Facebook later. You can check out Mary Reed. But I'm going to read part of this book, but first I'd like us to do our heart breathing. Those of you that might not be familiar with it, you just put your hands on your heart and we're going to breathe 3 times. The point is just like Jackie's song, being aware of the breath, moving into our heart, deepening into this deeper reality. And then we change our hands and breathe some more, just being aware of the breath. And then we switch our hands one more time. Just deepening into the heart. Allowing our heart to open. So if you're familiar with this book, they're short, beautiful chapters, some a description of what she's doing in her life, then some of the amazing visions and things that have occurred to her, unwittingly. And this is about this whole thing that we're talking about the heart and the mind, and what are we choosing. Today I've been contemplating what it means to be the light of God. I question whether this has ever been an actual light visible on earth, or if it's simply a radiant goodness that can be sensed through expressions and gestures. It's not a contemplation I've had at that depth, so I was grateful for her insight. I'm warm in my bed and about to fall asleep at the end of this long day when before me comes the answer to my question. In front of my closed eyes comes 2 screens side by side. One screen is being God's light from the experience of my mind. The other screen is being God's light from the experience of my heart. On the mind screen, the screen is drab and extremely elementary. It's like a strange artificial recreation of a masterpiece depicting everyday life, with simple scenery and stick figure people moving around in predictable mechanical motion. It is empty of reality, but it is as though the mind is trying earnestly to reproduce its own concept of reality. Next to this, on the heart screen, there is ethereal wonder. Colors are otherworldly and vibrant, with a vibrating, clear luminescence simultaneously bathing every single aspect of the scene. Motions of both people and nature are fluid and somehow melodic. Feelings are felt like a breeze and drenched in compassion and understanding. All things in the scene are varying forms of vibration. In fact, the entire scene itself is vibrating, as though the finest movements of the space in which everything exists are visibly alive. In this scene, I can see precisely how everything is intertwined. Everything affects everything, and in every impact, there are magnificent vibrations of love. As I watch these two side-by-side screens, I can see that the heart knows that to be God's light is to let go of all conceptual constraints and be the full energy or vibration of who I am. And that energy, vibration, is all forms of light itself. I can also see that my mind cannot understand what that means. So if you don't understand it, that's fine. Don't worry. My mind cannot understand what that means, because the very function of my mind is to try to understand. And therefore, it can never actually be or reproduce what it is trying to understand. The mind, therefore, only and always produces a false reality. To be God's light, then, and here we go, and this is the invitation to choose. To be God's life, then, is to be only and always of the heart. So that's why we did the heart breathing first, so you could receive this as well in your heart, and that you can be that and send it out wherever it's most needed, as we do in so many different ways. God bless you, everyone. Now it's time for our offertory. We don't have a basket to pass around, although there is some information on the board, and I'm sure Marlene will put it up again about donating if you'd like to through PayPal on our website, or Venmo, which is new to me but works, or send us a check. But as we deepen into this time together, just grateful for each one, and for Jackie now, who offers her gift of song.
So this song I'm going to do, it's called Childlike Heart, which just reminds us to have a childlike heart through everything. Life is lovely, and joy is more complete when you live life with a childlike heart. Work is playtime, and everyone's a friend Wonder is everywhere. With a childlike heart. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Anything is possible in this state of mind. Dreams come true, they really do. And life is oh so kind. Heaven happens when you learn to trust and live life with a childlike, with a childlike, with a childlike heart, with a childlike heart, with a childlike heart.
Thank you, Jackie. A perfect message. And this is the time in our, when we met together a couple of years ago, or 3 weeks, or whenever it was, in the same room. We called it a new visitor blessing. We did it last week, and I think it's really quite wonderful. We say, welcome to the Center for Conscious Living. And as we do this, I'll ask you to repeat after me. And we held our hands out. I want you to do two things. Well, I invite you, you do whatever you want. But to think of yourself as a center for conscious living as we deepen into this awareness of all that's going on. And then as we welcome each other with our hands extended. So welcome to this Center for Conscious Living. We are a heart-centered spiritual community. We open ourselves to you in love. We recognize the perfection of God within you. We celebrate the joyous being that you are. You are a radiant point of light, and we are blessed by your presence. Welcome home. We have another prayer that we do. We call it the Mastermind Covenant. This mastermind is a word for whatever word you're using for God, divine love, intelligence, whatever it is. I'll read this and tell you the responses. I invite you to say it aloud. Let the vibration go out regardless. Knowing there is a power, intelligence, and wisdom greater than my own, and knowing it is responsive to my every thought, word, action, and feeling, say aloud, I acknowledge. Surrendering to the power of this divine consciousness and knowing I am guided and assisted past any limited perception to God's truth within, now say, I surrender. Knowing forgiveness is the key to change. I now forgive myself and others for all mistaken judgments, and I open the door to unconditional love by saying, I forgive. Realizing that my life is the creation of my own thoughts, my own choices. I now choose to fill my mind with thoughts that are positive, loving, and beautiful. And I allow my life to reflect that choice by saying, I choose. holding this consciousness for the Center for Conscious Living. We now thank God for the continued prosperity and the peace and the health of this spiritual community and for everyone. For myself, I now go within to the silence of my own mind as I state my own specific intentions, knowing the universe always says yes. Please repeat after me. I accept with a thankful heart, and knowing that all I have put into divine mind is now returned to me, I say, thank you, God. We have a covenant that I'll just read, for you may know it, some of you. The love of God enfolds me. The mind of God inspires me. The Spirit of God enlightens me. The power of God encircles me. I am in God and all is well. For I am enthusiastic, excited, expectant, and at peace. And we turn to our neighbors, or you can say into your screen to go out to everyone, I'm grateful God has heard you. Yes, I saw somebody doing that. I'm grateful God has heard you. Lovely. Thank you. We have a couple of announcements. I put them on the, many of them on the newsletter that went out. If you're not on a newsletter, please send to CCL in Morristown at AOL, and we will put you on the newsletter. The women's group will be meeting, is that next Saturday, April 4th? You can call Kathy Miller or Renee to find that link. The men's group is, as well as we try and navigate these interesting times, is going to be a meeting online as well. You can see Mike Savarese or write him an email, msavarese@verizon.net. Course in Miracles is meeting second and fourth Mondays. You can contact KenDavisCoaching.com. Kathy Milano is having a Sunday salon at 7 tonight. Mary Law is doing meditations on Thursday. Christine Hopkins, all these are members of our group, is doing mindful meditations on Wednesday. We'll send that out. You have the link, or check out Mary Reed. Her beautiful meditation program is free for till the end of the month, which is a few days. Rick Moss, who was here and did these beautiful clearings on the subconscious, lessening fear and anxiety from early on, is essentialpathways.com. And marthacreek.com has a lot of information as well. And there's a trauma release exercise on at noon. So many things going on. And we're grateful that to be a part in a place where this is being shared. I'm also happy to report we have over 100 people on. I did manage with some help from another minister, thank you, Bill Marchioni, to figure out how to get over that 100 mark so nobody is shut out. So I'm delighted that you could all join us. Yes, there's a note here from Deb Brown, who's in Mississippi. She's found a new spiritual family. So welcome, Deb. Welcome everybody. Marty and June, who've been doing our season for nonviolence, will do our affirmations for peace. Marty, if you're there, or in June, you need to unmute yourself and then tell us our affirmations.
Good morning, everyone. So lovely to be with you all. Our daily affirmation that I'd like you to repeat after I share it is, today I will be compassionate in my thoughts, words, and actions.
Today I will be compassionate in my thought, words, and actions.
And then, as we normally do, standing around the peace pole, but we'll have to just virtually do that today, of course. We'll repeat several of the other affirmations. May peace prevail in our hearts and homes. May peace prevail in our hospitals and with our frontline workers. May peace prevail in North and South America. May peace prevail in Europe and Asia. May peace prevail in Africa, Australia, and Antarctica.
May peace prevail in Africa, Australia, and Antarctica.
May peace prevail on earth.
May peace prevail on earth. And may we remember that peace prevails in all creation.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Kathy,
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Kathy, we have a concluding affirmation. I'm going to have you do it first because then we're going to dance to this song. No.
Okay, so if everyone could please repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening to me right now.
Something wonderful is happening to me right now.
It is this thing called life.
It is this
It's
thing
this
called
thing
life.
called life.
Life is in my body.
Life is in my body.
Life is in my mind.
Life
Life
is
is
in
in
my,
my mind.
Life is in my feelings.
life is in my
My
feelings.
feelings.
Life is all in all my activities.
Life is in all my activities.
I receive it.
I receive it.
I share it.
I share it.
I am it.
I am
I
it.
am it.
And I accept it just the way that it is.
And I
I
accept it.
accept it just the way that it is.
Thank you, life.
Thank you.
Life.
And accepting all of these gifts, we say yes.
Yes.
Woo!
All right. All right. I'm going to go back and mute you all because Jackie's going to start singing.
You know all.
Let me unmute. Hey, so this is what I'm going to do instead. I'm going to play it because if I just play it, then you won't get that delay. So I'll play the song and we can dance off of that. Good?
I don't know. Last time when you sang it, it was pretty wonderful. I'll let you know.
Okay.
You have to unmute. I can do it. There you go.
Can you hear now? Huh? All right.
When my world is not okay, when there's roadblocks on my way,
Yeah, you need to sing, Jackie.
These words home. Let love lead the way. Let love lead the way. Oh, oh, oh. Let love lead the way. Let love lead the way. We can't see eye to eye, no matter how we try. We can find our harmony if you sing along with me. Oh, come on, y'all, shimmy. Let love lead the way. Let love lead the way. Oh, oh, oh. Let love lead the way. I'm sorry. Let love lead the way. Hey.
There you go.
In everything, love will be the gift we bring. Love will be the gift we bring. Yes. To receive straight from our hearts, straight from the heart. Oh, we jamming, y'all. Come on. Let love lead the way. Let love lead the way. Oh, oh, oh. Let love lead the way. Come on, Jacqueline, I see you. Let love lead the way. Ah. Now this is where you shimmy. Shimmy up. Shimmy back. You guys are great shimmiers. Let love. Let love. Oh. Ay, ay, ay. All right, let me see your best dance, right? Come on. Janet. This morning when I wake, there's a choice that I can make. Everything I do and say, I'll let love lead the way. Oh, let love lead the way. 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 Oh, let love lead the way. Let love lead the way. Yeah. Let love lead the way. We're gonna let love lead the way. Let love lead the way. Come on. Let love lead the way. Let love lead the way. We're gonna let love lead the way. Yeah. Ow.
Oh, thank you, Jackie. Muted, thank you, everybody. We can clap.
Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you, Jackie.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Thank you.
Jackie.
So good to see everybody.
Yes, it
Bye.
is.
Harmony.
Bye.
Hi, Reverend Carol.
Bye.
Hi,
Thank
Reverend
you.
Carol.
To
Have a
everybody.
blessed